Welcome back. We've been considering the priority that Jesus placed upon spending personal, intimate time with the Father through his example. Today I'd like to look at Luke chapter 9, verses 18 to 20, where we read, "And it happened as he was alone praying, that his disciples joined him. And he asked them, saying, 'Who do the crowds say that I am?' So they answered and said, 'John the Baptist. But some say Elijah, and others say, one of the old prophets has risen again.' He said to them, 'But who do you say that I am?' Peter answered and said, 'The Christ of God.'" Now we've seen Jesus practiced what he preached. He had told us there prior to the teaching of the model prayer that we should go into our closet, into our private place, and to spend time in prayer to our Father who sees in private, and that our Father would then reward us openly. Jesus, while he was on the earth, did that very thing. He took time to get alone and spend time with the Father. In the passage that we're looking at today, Jesus is taking this time to get alone while he was with his disciples. The part there where it says his disciples joined him, literally in the Greek it says they were with him. And so Jesus is there and he's praying. He's with them, but he's pulling himself aside and he's praying. But they're oblivious to the moment, and they're having these conversations regarding current events and such. Now this is interesting because, again, this is Luke chapter 9. This occurs just prior to where we began this whole series in Luke chapter 11. If you remember, it was Luke chapter 11 verse 1 where we read about the disciple coming to Jesus saying, "Lord, teach us to pray." Yet if they had been paying attention, Jesus already had been showing them how to pray numerous times. They just had missed it, like this moment. Jesus is praying right there in their midst, and yet they're having this other conversation by themselves. I want you to note Jesus' reaction again to them. As we saw in the last session, when the multitude interrupted his desire to have alone time, he didn't become irritated with them. Rather, he ministered to them. And here Jesus, rather than being irritated at their failure to also spend time in prayer, he turns to them from his prayer and asks them a question. He engages them in a spiritual conversation to hopefully get their mind focusing upon spiritual things. Who do the people say that I am? And then, who do you say that I am? It's an important question to ask. Who does the world say that Jesus is? A good prophet, a good teacher, a fake, a fraud, someone who never existed, an intolerant teacher? But who do you say Jesus is? Who is he to you? If he is the Son of God, if he is God in the flesh, how important is that to you in your relationship with him? To spend time with him, to spend time with the Father. As I consider this passage, though, and as I consider Jesus' example in prayer, again, I'm forced to ask myself, how do I deal with interruptions to my prayer life. See, interruptions to my prayer life really reveal a little bit more about who I am, about my heart and my motive. Do I become irritated? If I do, then really do I have the heart of Christ and God for others? Or is this really all about me? This is my time with God, and you're interrupting my time with God? Then it's really all about me, isn't it? And not really about God. And so I want to challenge you as we consider this example of Christ in prayer, that Jesus yearned and desired and wanted to have these times with his Father. And yet when they were interrupted by people who just didn't get it, he treated them with compassion and mercy and sought to bring them spiritual teaching and understanding. His heart was focused on the will of the Father. We talked about that many sessions ago. That was his desire, that was his delight. That while he was on the earth, he would accomplish the will of the Father. Even if that meant that his time with the Father was interrupted. I think that's why he got up a great while, yet it was before day, in order for him to have time with the Father, so that he would be able to have that time without it being interrupted. Take some time before the Lord. Go to the Lord in prayer. If you haven't already, take time to pray, would you? Find an alone spot and develop that relationship with him, and have a blessed day.